August 25th, 2025, in the Polk County Regional Health Building, Suite A for Polk County Commissioners Court. Please ask everyone to please silence any cell phones or other devices that you might have. And at this time, we will ask for public comments. Does anyone have any public comments? No? Maybe I'm attorney again? Thank you, ma'am. Okay, new business, a regular agenda. Discuss and consider any and all necessary action regarding the discretionary funds. So the final number as of today is $343,000 available for the court to discuss. So let me start. I'm going to review some of the information. All of you all have seen this before. I apologize to those of you over on this wall. So here is where we are now. So 2016, I'm right behind you.
I know.
2015 was when we did the forbearance. So since then, since 2016, where we just kind of held tight, in 2017, we did a 2.5% COLA. I've written another thing for that one. And we stabilized our retiree health trust by taking it to $500,000 per year. In 2018, we did another 2.5% COLA across the board. We had a premium increase that took our insurance up to almost $11,000. 2019, we did another 2.5 COLA plus, because this is when we did our compensation study. This is when we did the salary survey, okay? So the average wage increase in 2019 for Polk County was almost 5%. Because what happened with the compensation study is that we went in and the range was from 2.91 to 16.48 increase. Now I will tell you that the jailers, the dispatchers, and the clerks were really the main ones that were underpaid. So, and at the same time, we had a health premium increase. So the discretionary funds that were available was $135,699, and of that, 80% went to the SO and the jail. In 2020, we did not do a cost of living across the board because we were trying to finish up our compensation study, and so we took that money and we did a one-step increase for employees that had been here 8 years or more. 2021 was COVID. I know everybody hates to hear that word, but it did impact us. So we held still. We had a 3.5% increase in our health premiums. Everything else stood still. 2022, we did a 5% COLA across the board. Plus, we put 2.5% worth of merit funding into every department. 2023, we did a 10%. Again, this is when all the inflationary activity happened, due again to COVID. And we knew we had to get our employees up ahead of the line. So at that time, we had another significant health premium increase, which took it to over $11,000 per employee. 2024, we did 4% discretionary funding. Discretionary funding and merit funding are basically the same thing. And we had a 1.6% health premium increase. That's where we started the budget year. So in the middle of the budget year was when SB 22 came out. So mid-year of our budget, we added, the SO, the sheriff at his discretion, gave every TCOL officer, so that is one thing that you need to separate, okay, that only the TCOL officers received $3,400, and the jailers and the nurses, because they're TCOL, right? Okay, received $5,800. Now, later, I discussed it with our elected officials, because dispatchers got left out of all of the SB 22, because they are not TCOLA. Okay, so then, in 2025, we came back, we did a 3,000 across the board for all employees that were in the general fund, and we did a $1,400 increase to everyone that had already received a major increase through SB 22. So the raises were this, plus this, or this, plus this, for your TCOLA officers. Now, on top of that, discretionary funds were given proportionate to each department. We do the discretionary funds based on their personnel budget. Now, I will tell you this, the majority of the personnel in the general fund, not in the commissioner's fund, in the general fund, 49% is in the SO and the general, because they have the larger payroll. So that is correct. And then we also had a 1.6% health premium increase. So that's where we are today. Today, this budget has 3,000 for all employees. We had an 8% increase in health premiums. And so our health premium per employee now is at $12,244. And we have $343,000 for the court to decide how it needs to be extended. So let me give y'all some more information. Remove this. Excuse my nasty painted easel. This is new information when it's going on.
Yeah, I don't have it written down.
No, so, and we are gonna write it down and provide it too. Okay, so, here's some more information for everybody to consume. Okay, the Polk County pay scale, which all of you have a copy of. We provided you another copy, but you've seen it a gazillion times before. We have 18 groups, okay, or job groups, that are in the 100 pay scale. We have 9 job groups that are in the 200 pay scale. All of them have 16 steps. And then we also have some unclassified positions that do not have any steps. It's not dependent upon that. The 200 pay scale had to be developed in the middle of the budget year, because that's when the SB 22 monies came in. And for us to be able to provide the money the way that the sheriff wanted it distributed, then we had to come up with another pay scale that was directly related to that money. So the pay scale is based on level of responsibility, the workload, the hours, the training, the expertise, the job requirements, and all of the pay scale is based on salary survey, which was court approved. Discretionary raises. These used to be known as merit increases. The problem was that the way that the court had written the discretionary merit increases was that they required an evaluation. Well, then there were discrepancies in terms of evaluations, or who evaluated harder than others, or so forth. So the court agreed to just make it discretionary. That way each elected official or each department head knew, right, who was working the hardest in their department and would be able to give it to them. So again, the discretionary increases are based on the pay scale. It's a step. take a step up. The budget amount is based on whatever funds are available. The employee increases are determined by the elected official or the department head, and it was intended to increase flexibility and allow for some judgment in there to where the elected official could determine increases as well as the court, but not the court determine everything and take that flexibility away from the elected official. It is not a COLA, okay? It is not intended to be a cost of living adjustment. It is a merit or discretionary increase. The elected official has also the flexibility of taking that money and giving some people a 2-step increase instead of just a 1-step increase, based on available funds, based on what the taxpayers can provide. Okay, longevity. We changed our whole longevity information. And this did not come from the court. This was an employee idea that was given to us during one of the department meetings, okay? Because they are not department head meetings, they're department meetings, so other people can attend. So this was an employee idea, and part of the goal was to go ahead and provide some longevity incentive up front for retention purposes. Okay, so year 2 and year 4 is worth $500 each year on the anniversary date. Now this went all over the place. I mean, originally it was given like a Christmas bonus, but then you had to swear to stay there till January 1st. I mean, it was all over the place. Then we moved it because the staff, and again, personnel said, no, because we want to take advantage of all the Thanksgiving sales for Christmas. So then we moved it to that payroll. Then that was confusing. So then they said, okay, let's line it up with the court's fiscal year. So then it was October 1. Well, what if you went to work on October 2? Now you had to wait 2 years before you could get anything, right? So it just became very confusing. So then what we decided to do is that it would be given to the employee, not in their paycheck, where it would just be lost somewhere, right? But that on the anniversary of their employment, that's when they would get it. And it would be their check. Simplified everything. Now we didn't have people that basically had worked for 2 years before they got any kind of longevity. It's basically, it doubles, okay? So from 2 to 4 you get $500, 5 to 9 you get $1,000, and 10 to 14 you get $2,000. So it doubles. 15 to 19 starts tapering off. 15 to 19 you get $2,500, 20 to 24, $3,000, so forth, and it caps at $4,000. So what I would like to point out to y'all is that longevity used to be $60 a year. And it capped at $1,200. So this person right here, instead of getting $2,000, would be getting $600. That's a pretty good benefit. I think it is. So, let's talk about what the taxpayer bill is. So the taxpayers pay for all of these things. Not just for your salary. This year's health insurance is costing our taxpayers $3,869,000 $243. You can't say, oh, that doesn't count. Because we have a great insurance policy. Retirement, $2,556,687. We have a great retirement. With our retirement, it's a 250% match on your guaranteed returns. We have people that retire and make more money retired. We also do certificate pay, uniform and clothing allowances, that's at the discretion of the elected official, and then plus your salary, plus your longevity, and right now, what we have in the longevity is $281,500. Now, if the only thing that matters to anybody is the bottom line of what's on salary, then in the next budget year, you will need to tell us. You need to tell us what needs to go down on this list. So here's Polk County versus Montgomery County, which was highly discussed in social media for the last, I don't know, week, 10 days. So here's our tax rate in 2024. Okay, I have no way of knowing what Montgomery County's tax rate is now, because they're in the middle of the same process we are. So 2024, our tax rate was 0.583. And our value that it's based on was 5 billion plus. In that same year, at the same time, Montgomery County's tax rate was 0.3696. Pretty nice for the taxpayers. Look at their tax value. Almost 94 billion. You know what the majority of our taxpayers are? Homes. Your homes. We don't have major industrial complexes. We don't have the Woodlands. We don't have Conroe. Heck, we don't even have villas. Our taxpayers are mostly homes, homeowners, small businesses. Our tax rate this year is 0.5986, which is the voter approval rate. That's as high as we can go without having an election. And we can't do that now. We've missed all the deadlines. Last year I kept saying, let's not miss deadlines. Well, we missed deadlines. So that's the voter approval rate. We're staying at the 3.5% revenue rate as required by the legislature. If we wanted to go over this rate, then this court would have to decide to raise taxes and have an election. So, I asked Adam, what would it take, what would our rate be for us to raise another $1 million? So that would be our rate, 0.618890. That would be the rate that this court would have had to adopt and have an election and get the voters to approve it, to generate 1 million. So we had a request for an increase in salaries of almost $4 million. And that's not across the board. If to generate 1 million, we have to go to an election and we have to get voter approval, then generating 4 million is going to be a real challenge. So, is where we are. I'll pick that up later.
Okay.
Thank you, Ann. Okay, so what we did is we provided you all again with this list, okay, that was provided before, where we discussed what the difference was with the step increases of general fund compared to road and bridge funds. So if you go through those, everybody's included in the first one. And actually, it trends statistically pretty good. So you start out with more people in step one, and then less people in each step as you progress. So, the majority of the request was for, we had different people requesting different amounts, go to different departments. So we did the same thing with the jail and with the sheriff. I do have a correction. We do have a mistake on here, on the steps for the sheriff's office. Dakota Martinez is actually at a step 5, so that's on us. So you can go through and you can see, and what we did put is we did put, their hire dates on there, and most recent promotions, things like that that would be pertinent, to the discussion. And actually, we sent this to the sheriff's office, as well. So that is a correction, Andy, Dakota. Anyway, so there's the information for every position, including the dispatchers, and then you have a separate one for the jail as well.
I got a correction, Judge, on something that keeps getting brought up.
What's that?
I got a correction on something that keeps getting brought up.
That what?
So Senate Bill 22 was provided by the state, and it wasn't something the sheriff asked for.
No, of course it wasn't.
He distributed those funds equally amongst everybody, unlike some departments that gave admin higher raises versus deputies. We just brought what the state said we need to bring up to.
Yeah.
We keep bringing up 111, 200 group, or 100 group, 200 group. We came back, the sheriff did heed some of the judge's arguments, we come back, I met with the judge and Miss Perry in her office. And we took funds out of another area that we had, and we provided our 100 groups with 2 more separate, okay? So it wasn't like they were left behind, we provided what we could have.
No, that's why I'm providing them this information.
Well, I'm just going off of what's
saying
said in here about the 100 groups being left behind.
okay, but the 100 group in your department is separate from the 100 group and all the rest of us.
I get that, Judge, but it wasn't brought up that the sheriff, brought the 100 groups in our department up as well.
That's what I'm trying to do right now. So I'm headed your way.
So,
Give me a minute.
the 100 groups in our department was funded an additional 2 steps, pay raise.
Okay.
That's not being brought up.
And so that's where I'm headed with this. So if you look at it, I was gonna start with the jail. Let's start with the jail. So if you look at it, you can see that you have, obviously Dawson received increases because he was included in the SB 22. Then you have the office manager who is at step 5. Hire date was 2023. You've got the nurses who were also included in the SB 22 monies because are TCO. Is the medical assistant also TCO?
Yes, ma'am, they're jail certified.
Okay, so they were able to benefit from SB 22. You have some deputy sheriffs that were transport, those are vacant. And so if you go down, you can see that with the exception of the new hires, okay, then the majority of them were able to get some increases because of SB 22. So So you can go through the whole thing, if you look at it, we still have some vacancies in there, in that department, but if you go through the whole thing, then you can see where each person is positioned. Okay. So at this time, well, at the time of this printing, because I don't know if anything has changed, we had total of filled positions of 37 and total vacant positions of 10, which includes the transport officers. Okay, at the sheriff's office, you have the same thing. You had all of the SB 22 people that received increases because of the SB 22 T-goal. So your highest paid person up there is on step 8. Lieutenant Dawson, I believe, is on step 7. And then you have the administrative assistant, who's at step 7 with a 2021 hire date. And then you have a warrant clerk that is at step 9. And that's a 2012 hire date. If you go on down, you've got the same thing. You have you can see your step 7s, your step 8. So you have some from Dakota forward. Those are all, some of them are more recent hires. You have some 2021, 2022 hires that came in at a higher. And we also put on there the rehire so that you could see which people were in the department, left, came back, so you could see what warranted that step. And then you have your telecommunications, which is what Andy's referencing, your telecommunications officers, and you have 2 of them at step 8, 1 of them at step 7, and then some of the new ones that were not included in that step increase because they were not there. Any questions about that? Okay, we provided you the information that we had. There was wages based on the wage sheet at that time for SB 22 eligible employees, but of course that's been a while now. And the district attorney, she is her own signatory on that grant, so that information is hers. And that's really more just for her information. Okay. Now, what we need today is we need some guidance from the court on how you wish to proceed with the discretionary funds. In the past, we've done it based on personnel. Obviously, we have money to work with, which is the $343,000. For us to decide, or for you all to tell us, to give us some direction on how you would like to proceed with that money.
Well, I'm gonna stay with my recommendation, really. I mean, it's based on the rest of the courts, whether they agree or not. I mean, it's,
So the
but I'm still
75-25?
asking for 75% of the original first quote that come out of the 285 discretionary funds.
75-25 of the 285. Okay, that still leaves us with that other monies.
Yeah, over $100,000 still left in discretionary funds.
Okay. Anyone else have any? Can I borrow the calculator?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go.
Basically, 75% of 285 should be about 213.
No, I understand. I understand. Okay, can I make a suggestion to the court? So, it would appear that the two groups at the sheriff's office that have the least amount of flexibility and where we're truly having difficulty would be the dispatchers and the jailers. The dispatchers cannot leave, they can't go eat lunch, they can't abandon their position. And neither can the jailers. The jailers cannot leave, they cannot abandon their position. So maybe the only discretion that the court has, after you decide amongst yourselves what to do or how to move forward, is to designate how much goes into the jail and how much goes in to the sheriff. So if part of the problem is recruitment, and this is not my idea either, but if part of the issue is recruitment, then if you put the money in there for the budget to where new jailers and new dispatchers could start at step 2 instead of step 1, and that would create a shift now. And looking at the dispatcher information and the jailer information, that would require some funding. In terms of the dispatchers, everybody there is a 2024, 2025 person. So that would not be an excessive amount of money to move the dispatchers that are on the lower end up one step and hire people at step 2. In terms of the jail, and you do have more of a problem because we have so many corrections officers that are on step 1. So you would have to take step 1 and step 2. So if y'all want us to figure out what that would be, including tax title and license benefits and so forth, then that's certainly something we can bring to the board. And the question is, I mean, budget is fine. What we need, and discretionary funds.
What do you give them if we choose to give them? Then is that way from?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, no, it's a in perpetuity. Now, you can say, you know, okay, we're gonna start at step 2 for this budget year. That's fine too. In that case, you're not, you know, setting that from this point forward. You start at step 2 for, say, the next budget year.
For new hires.
Yes, for new hires. In those 2 areas.
But just be clear with everybody, first of all, when we start talking about discretionary funds, it was talking more or less for the jailers. Anyhow, it wasn't talking more or less about anything else. We was trying to get, the whole purpose was discretionary funds. It started off talking about the jailers, trying to get the jailers,
The purpose
to
of
keep them on.
discretionary funds has always been for the whole county, always.
well, I know that, but I'm just saying the 75%.
So your
you-
purpose,
that you
your
don't-
person, your purpose.
Yes, was for the jailers, more or less. That's where it all came from. It all started right there.
Okay, so
And
your
then the
focus is on,
misinterpretation of people just saying, hey, you know, saying everybody and stuff like that, it wasn't intended for that and stuff. When I said give to the sheriff's office, it was like, we was already the interpretation that it was for the jail staff to bring the jailers up, to get them where they need to be in jail.
But the discretionary funds for everyone.
yes, the discretionary funds is for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's discretionary funds left over for
But
every
your
department.
focus was on the jailers, that's what you're saying. Okay.
So what you're saying is, we take everybody that's on step 1 in the jail, go ahead and put them to a step 2.
We would have to. but we-
Because if you can't hire nobody in over,
No, we would have to take those people that are new jailers and move them up as well. Now, I don't know, I mean, you all can tell us if you want us to bring you that information. We just need some direction from the court, because this is not a decision, contrary to popular belief, that is not.
So is that for 111 and step 2? Correct.
So, yes, sir, no, there are gonna be 2s.
be 2 of them.
There are 211,
211.
yes, it would be your
So it would
211
bring all of them up to step 2 and the ones in step 2 up to
to
step 3?
step 3.
Okay. Then it would move up the,
And then you,
move
well,
up the telecommunication apparatus.
that would be my recommendation, but it's not my decision to make.
And then we take the rest of the discretionary funds and divide them like we always do.
That works for me.
But I mean, we'll use
We would use some of the
discretionary funds.
discretionary funds here, see what's available, and then the court can decide the distribution from that point forward.
Sounds good to me.
But
It ain't gonna
that's,
sound good to everybody. But most people don't like it,
Well-
but especially I can tell they don't like anything we do.
well, and I don't know what the final amount would be, so, we can.
That's all, everybody's got their own ideas, so everybody speak up.
You can't leave other people behind. We just can't. I can't, in good conscience. Now, I'm just a tiebreaker. So really, unless 2 and 2, then that's the only time I'm gonna come into play. But it's still, I don't believe that to have a good functioning county, you can leave groups of people behind.
So right now, your suggestion was dispatcher and jailers? Let's move them up to step 2.
But
And
I
that would
don't,
come
I
from
haven't,
where?
but I haven't done the
Out of
math.
the
The new
That would
budget.
have to come out of the discretionary funds.
Discretionary fund.
Now, I don't know what the final amount would be, we haven't tweaked it, we haven't looked at it.
I'm not know that before we vote on
No, we're not gonna vote.
We voting on it tomorrow.
No.
We're
And
talking
we-
about it today.
Yeah, we're just discussing it today, and we will bring a recommendation to the court tomorrow. But even so, the amount of money that's in the discretionary fund is the amount of money that's in the discretionary fund. So tomorrow, we approve the total budget, but we don't have to necessarily approve exactly what we do with what's in the discretionary fund. That's a fixed amount of money now. I mean, if we're gonna do this, then we need some time to look at it and to share the information once again with, the sheriff has to agree to it. Because technically, we cannot tell him that it needs to go to the dispatchers.
Can I say one more thing, Judge?
Yes, sir.
I agree with the judge on a lot of things like Montgomery County, but St. Jack's not up there and they start more than we do. We can't compete with people like Montgomery and Liberty, and we agree with that, we're not trying to. We're just trying to get competitive. Bringing my dispatchers and my jailers up to a step 2, they can go somewhere else and start out more. It's not competitive, it's not gonna help us out. The majority of whatever y'all decide to give us, is gonna go to the jail. That's where we're hurting at the most, all right? The sheriff's already made that clear. So I've heard the comments a couple times, we can't decide what the sheriff's gonna do. That's what the sheriff's gonna do, okay? He's got COVID right now, the reason why he's not here. But that's all we're doing is trying to get competitive. We're not trying to become rich or anything else. We're trying to get competitive with the areas around us so we can keep officers, so they can benefit from all these benefits that you put up on the board.
Well, they.
Right now, most everybody's dealt with the younger work generation. They don't care about this stuff that's on the board. They care about what's on their table, they can put on their table. And that's what we're trying to compete with. A lot of your older generations, these higher steps that you are seeing that she's showing, there's a lot of the older groups that are here, gonna stay here, and they're staying here for this retirement, for the benefits. So the jails where we're hurting, that's where the majority of that's gonna go. And, we're just trying to get competitive. Bringing people up a step, it doesn't make us competitive. They can go down the street and start off more than a step 2. So, and that's all we're asking for.
Then the court will have to decide if they wanna cut some of those benefits. I mean, if that's the issue is we cut some of the benefits, well, then this court will have to decide. You can't right now, you know, but you're gonna have to make that decision if that's the way, that everybody perceives it. So that's something for everybody here to think about, and that's why I said that. If you're going, if the bottom line of a paycheck is the only thing that matters, well then the court needs to decide what you're gonna do away with.
Well, I can say this, I've been a private citizen all my life, 2.5 years ago. They don't want to have to buy private insurance, health insurance. I'll tell you that, sir. $1,500 a month or something for good insurance.
Well, that's one of the considerations. That's one of the considerations that you need to keep in mind as we move along. If that's it, you know, if insurance doesn't really contain any value, or, you know, we've asked our employees to vote on the insurance. Well, I know that we have mostly older employees. We know what the median age is of our employees. Well, of course, they're voting for good insurance. They need it, you know, but so do the younger people. That's why it's insurance. You don't know what's gonna happen. But that is something that the court needs to think about, for next year. And again, can't change it this year. But the other thing also is if the court wants to consider increasing taxes, well, then we have to do it before now. We have to meet those deadlines. You can't kick it down the road because it's not gonna land anywhere. If the court wants to consider increasing taxes, then you need to say so as well. Because it's too late now.
You can say that for next year.
Yes, absolutely, it'll have to be next year as well.
But, you know, something else that, I don't think they're not only gonna get a one-step or two-step increase or whatever, they're also gonna get a $3,000 increase in their salary.
Oh, yeah,
So, I mean, you know, it's not just,
oh,
you
yeah.
know, one step. I mean, I don't know what it takes to be competitive, yet. You know, that's y'all's deal. I don't know what a policeman makes in San Jacinto County, or jail.
Well,
Another number that they make in
excuse
Well,
me,
deputy, I don't know about jailer, jailer starts at about 50. A jailer in San Jack, a deputy in San Jack starts at about 51 and a half.
but see, we're back to the same thing too. We don't know how do you compare that? How do you compare the insurance? How do you compare longevity? How do you compare
Yeah, I
all
don't
those
know.
things? You know, so again, if the only thing that matters is the bottom line, then, okay. This court needs to decide, you know, what are you gonna get rid of? Now, if you got rid of longevity, what's our commitment right now? You certainly couldn't yank the rug out from the people that are already there, right? But you could say, okay, we're not gonna offer longevity anymore. Well, in this budget, it's 281,500. So, if that needs to go into the payroll, if that needs to go into salaries, it's a chunk of change that's going to longevity. You wouldn't get it all at one time. But that was one of the arguments as well, on how to retain people, was that it was through longevity. And so,
I don't think we're at that point right now, we need to start taking incentives away from people either, though, not right now.
No.
and I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but I'm just saying that if the only thing that matters is the bottom line, well then, put your money where your mouth is. Because we cannot continue to not give our taxpayers credit for providing the benefits that they provide. And if we have employees that don't understand the long-term benefits of some of their, things we provide, then that's our fault. That's our fault as elected officials, it's our fault as a county for not educating them better. So I just need direction. Don't want us to do the math on those changes?
I don't know.
If you could do the math, that would be great, but then
Well, we can provide you with a very good estimate. We can't do it by tomorrow, but we can provide you with a very, very good estimate. And again, that's all within a budget line, because we have all discretionary salaries in the same line, so that doesn't affect, you know, approval of the budget.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
If you take 75% of the 285 and what's left over from the 343, is that what the normal is, so that the rest of the county offices will be able to give their employees discretionary raises?
No, that is not what the normal is. The normal would be to take the 343,000 and provide 48% of it to the sheriff jail, and the rest would be split amongst you, Shalana, the tax office, everybody else, including, because our agreement with the district judges is that whatever we give our employees, that they too will receive. So in this case, you would have to add the auditor's office, the district court, county court of law, everybody else. Now, keep in mind, so one of the things that people came back and said was, well, let's roll all the discretionary funds into one and then split it again. No, because our agreement with the elected officials was, you are sometimes not going to have enough to give someone a full step, right? And so your discretionary money in your department can roll over. So we're not gonna take anything away from anybody, but with the discretionary funds, we will add to that. think you ended up using some of your discretionary funds. Okay, so $250, $240, I don't remember. But anyway, so we agreed that we would make you whole on that, and so whatever discretionary funds the court decides to give, then you will receive your share based on your personnel costs.
Well, from my research, there was $92,000 that was dispersed out to, for discretionary funds last year. 32 was, unused funds. So even with the 75% out of the 285, there's still over $101,000, still left
I just had
in
to ask.
discretionary funds.
You know, I'm gonna advocate for my employees.
But actually, being that there's $343,000 in there, actually.
Leave you
there's more than that.
$129,000.
So,
Okay, perfect. Just had to ask.
well, I just want to make sure everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other ideas, suggestions, things that you want us to number crunch?
Big number right here, listed for, is coming $3,000.
That is that's the new pay scale with the $3,000 in it.
This is the
Yes,
new.
so yes, everybody got lifted $3,000. So keep in mind, and last year, the elected officials that did say anything about it liked the way that it happened. They liked the flat rate increase, you know, plus some discretionary funds, even if the discretionary funds had to be less. They were very satisfied with that, because the truth of the matter is, a gallon of milk is a gallon of milk, regardless of where you are on there, right?
I think the flat rate overall is
Oh, yeah,
good.
I think everybody.
Yeah, no,
It
everybody
treats pretty much
liked it.
everybody equal.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody
That's all.
appreciated that. And so we just repeated the same thing. So we did the increase across the board for everybody, and now we just have those discretionary funds that we need some direction on. So that is just salaries. That does not include benefits, anything else. That is just,
Yeah,
yeah.
but you take step two, you took it to step two, $45,289. I mean, that's $5,000 less a year.
And again, if what the court wants to do next year is raise taxes, then we need to prepare ourselves for an election. And the voters will have to approve it. Elections aren't cheap either, so that would have to be built in. Okay, anybody else?
Judge, on your two departments up there, who's the two departments on the request for 3 million?
That was the total cost of what y'all's base salary was that you requested by the time you add benefits and everything to it.
What we requested was right out of million. I
Correct,
don't
you
think benefits
requested
cost that
right,
much.
well, you requested right at $1 million, and by the time you start adding everything else to it, then you requested more than $1 million the first time. For us to meet your.
900,000, I think, when it comes to what we're requesting.
For us to meet your request for the last one, even after this $3,000 raise, would be $750,000. So. Okay, anyone else? Okay, if you think of anything else, then let us know, and we will go from there.
adjourned.